Get out of my fucking face. Hey guys, how we going? So, with Matt away, unfortunately they've asked me to create some content for you. So I apologize in advance, but hopefully if you stick through this, there might be something you find of value. One of the topics on the list of topics they asked me to talk about was how to prepare for a sales call. I've always found that there's two types of guys that prepare for sales. One, you have the ultra professional. You know, guys like Jeremy Miner, Marco Cortesi, or then you have guys like myself and Matt who just rock up and just do what they gotta do on the day. Like the absolute zero preparation I had for this video, I kind of just threw the camera in my face and said, talk about this. The guys that work off the cusp, they feel better without preparation. They trust their natural instincts to take over and get the job done. There's a couple of ways that we prepare for that. What I call is an indirect preparation metric. And those are things where to display our best on that sales call, it comes from conviction and confidence. Right, so guys like myself and Matt, those off the cusp type dudes, we focus more heavily on getting confident, walking in confident so that we're full of conviction when we present. You know, that may not always come across, I hope somewhat that it does, but I sure as shit feel confident even though I have no idea what I'm talking about half the time. We call these guys bullshitters, and I'm talking about like those A-class bullshitters that can talk about anything. If you want to, we can have a conversation. I can make some content about the purple hippo that I once met. Doesn't exist, but the level of confidence when displaying things is what's important, and we get away with it, right? So I've always had this saying, is that if you're going to fail, fail with confidence, right? That way sometimes no one ever knows when you say the wrong thing. Perfect example is this entire video. But without the crap cut aside, the ways that we help these people get preparation for their sales calls, as I said, is getting them confident. You know, they walk in confident, they crush it. When you're confident, those natural instincts take over. All the training that you've done on the sales calls, all the ways in which you've done presenting, the information that you know, as you get confident, that information flows out by natural instinct. Okay, so a couple of the key things that we do there is focusing on congruency, making sure that we're getting to the gym, making sure that we're doing the hours of training so that the skill set is there, and a whole bunch of other things that relate to confidence. Excuse me. The second one is coffee. As we know, coffee is for closers. Shout out to the podcast. Well, I just spilled that. Anyway, those two things, getting that confidence up. A couple of the ways that we do that is by one, getting to the gym, turning up. Like for me personally, I like to have a swim in the morning. It wakes me up, makes me feel alive. And then I come in and I feel confident getting onto things. Walking in the way Conor McGregor walks into the ring, you know, just no fucks given. And by not caring what happens, whether you win or lose, and being able to remove yourself from that process, but feeling like you're in control and that you're going to win makes the biggest difference. Then a couple of the other things that we work on to be able to get a level of conviction is getting the little things right. Making sure that the semi stuff is done right. Getting a haircut, brushing the teeth, dressing in clothes that you feel comfortable, etc., etc. All those things that when you look into the mirror in the morning, we all have those days where we go in, we look at ourselves and go, oh geez, you look like shit today. Typically on those days, we don't turn up the way that we normally would on sales calls because that confidence becomes lower. But you also have those days where you look in the mirror and go, geez, you look good today. And from those days, confidence is at its peak. Our conviction is the highest because we believe in ourselves. So for the guys that are working off the cusp, we tend to try and put more effort into making sure that we've got the routine right so that we can have more days than not where we look into that mirror and you look at yourself and you become full of confidence. You know, a lot of those things about getting that routine right is, you know, whether you're one of the guys that does the meditation, whether you're a guy that likes to spend time in the morning with the kids, whether you spend the time doing the facial grooming. I can't grow facial hair, but if I did, you know, getting a haircut, you're doing all those things so that we can turn up every day with confidence. Because confidence is really a systematic change of our habits and performance. And when we get those consistently right by doing the things that we enjoy doing on a daily basis, we tend to turn up more confident. So for the guys that are those off the cusp, What we recommend is to nail your routine so that when you walk into the office every morning, you're full of confidence and can perform the way, allowing your natural ability to take over from day-to-day stuff. We've got the second type of people, those ultra professionals. Guys like Marco, guys like Jeremy. Those are the guys that really care about the clothes that they put on. They focus on that fashion. They don't just pull whatever out like me and be like, oh, here's a shirt, here's a pants, put them on. Yeah, it's close enough to matching, let's walk out the door, right? But I have so much respect for these guys because I've never seen two guys ever prepare so much for a meeting, for a presentation, or for a sales call. And that means rehearsing your notes, dialing in the script, asking yourself the question, how do I present it this way? Or how do I present it this way? Which way is better? What am I aiming to do going into this call? So if you're one of the guys that relies on high professionalism, you can't do it off the cusp. Preparation is crucial. And the way that you prepare is having an indicator of what can go wrong and what can go right, where you want the conversation to go, where you don't want it to go. If it starts going the way you don't want it to go, how do you steer it back to where you want to? And the way that that's typically done is by understanding your script, understanding your process, understanding what you're aiming to get out of a conversation and what not. That preparation really comes down to what works for you as an individual, whether 10 minutes before you recap your notes, whether it's the night before you recap your notes. Also, those guys, they tend to do a lot more role play in preparation to going into a call. So Jeremy and Marco, they tend to, when they have a big call, they'll get on and they'll role play out how they think it's going to go. And when I'm talking about this, it's not like the smaller deals, it's the large scale meetings where we're negotiating a large contract, we're doing a big B2B deal, we're going, or for instance, those guys are going onto a podcast, they're doing a presentation, they're doing a masterclass. The last masterclass that we did with Jeremy, he prepared hours and hours and hours before every single day to make sure he was in peak performance. And whether that's a personal bias, whether that's a placebo effect, for those guys, that type of preparation is what allows them to have the confidence. It's not the routine. Sure, the routine helps. So that's what I'd recommend if you're someone that is one of those preparation people, is do what you can to control the environment on the call that you're doing at, and do that by practice and knowing where to go and how to bring yourself back on track so that you have in advance an answer for every objection or possible way that that call might go to keep you in control and stop you getting off the cusp and know how to bring things back where they need to. So thank you. That's how we try and prepare our guys, whether they're an off the cusp or they're a professional closer. My idea is to try and get people prepared for both outcomes. And I find personally that the people who are most successful have the ability to do both. They have the ability to go off the cusp when needed, but also put in a high amount of preparation for things that they are unsure of as opposed to things that they're confident in.